Before there was light, something had already died. Not fallen, not slain, but undone, so existence could take shape. The world was not born, but rather it was assembled from what could no longer remain whole. And in the silence before time, creation began not with a breath, but with a wound. There was once a vastness that knew no direction, no above, no below, no before, or no after, no nothing. Only an immeasurable expanse where absence was the only constant in that universe. And yet, even absence cannot remain untouched forever. To one side of this immeasurable void, cold gathered without limit. A cold that did not freeze things because nothing yet existed to freeze. A cold that was simply vast, absolute, and endless. To the opposite side, heat burned without fuel, a fire that did not consume because nothing yet existed to be consumed. A fire that existed without purpose, pure intensity without consequence. And between these opposites stretched a quiet gulf, a tension waiting for release. And when the drifting breath of fire met the ancient stillness of frost, something changed. Not through intention, not through design, but through inevitability. Frost softened, flame dimmed, and from their encounter, form condensed from the formless. Existence scattered around itself, and a shape emerged, vast, immense, and solitary. He was not born. He was accumulated, like how accumulation works, And he wasn't created. He was the first coherence within chaos. His presence filled the emptiness simply by being. No language named him then, and no thought described him yet. But he was the first being whose existence could be measured against the void. From his body flowed continuation, and from his presence came expansion. Existence once began could not remain singular or individual. And yet he embodies something much more profound, a world that existed but did not mean. And he was fullness without structure, power without direction, life without intention. And in a cosmos that had not yet learned to tell stories, he was the first chapter without an ending. Time had not yet awakened, but yet change had already begun to whisper. From the currents of becoming arose new forms, not vast, not primal, but deliberate. They observed what existed and saw not completion, but potential. And so, they saw existence without order, motion without purpose, creation without structure. They understood a truth that would not echo through all ages. But what they understood was a world can exist without meaning, but meaning cannot exist without transformation. And so they chose to act. And not from hatred, not from vengeance, but from the necessity that structure demands. And what followed was not war in the sense that mortals understand, but it was a collision between what is and what must become. The primal did not resist with anger. He resisted by simply being too vast to end easily. But inevitability does not ask permission, but rather when he fell, the universe crossed a threshold that it could never reverse, but never. And for the first time, existence ceased, so existence could be shaped. And from what remained, the world was formed. Flesh became land, dense, enduring, and vast. Blood became oceans, deep, restless, and moving with memory. Bones became mountains, silent pillars riding toward an unborn sky. This great skull lifted upward, arching over creation as a vault to contain the future. Breath dispersed into winds that would never again know stillness. Hair spread across the earth as forests growing from what once had no root, and even thought dissolved into drifting clouds. Nothing was discarded. Nothing was meaningless. Creation did not really emerge from nothingness. Creation emerged from transformation. The world was not built upon a becoming, but rather the world was built upon an ending that refused to vanish without consequence. And so, the cosmos gained form, but also gained memory. Every horizon carried history. Every stone carried origin. Every motion carried echo. If life would grow in a world shaped by sacrifice long forgotten by those who walked upon it, but the world remembered, and it remembered in silence. It remembered in weight. It remembered in structure. It remembered in so many multiple ways. Time began to move, not because something started, but rather because something had changed irreversibly. Order spread outward, shaping space into realms, distances into directions, and moments into sequences. Where once there had only been presence, now there was progression. And so the sky arched, not as emptiness, but as containment. The land did not just simply exist, it endured. The ocean did not simply just spread. They moved as though still recalling the pulse from which they came. And so thus, the universe learned its first law. Nothing becomes meaningful without transformation. Nothing transforms without surrender. And so we learn that creation is not just gentle. It is deliberate. It is costly. It is immeasurable. The world stands because something once fell, like a corpse from Ymir. But the rivers flow because something was once spilled. Life breathes because something once ceased to be whole. It's crazy how Norse mythology's universe was built off of Ymir's corpse, and yet in this paradox lies the foundation of existence itself. That's how unique Norse mythology is, because to exist is not merely to begin. To exist is to be reshaped. Power is not the ability to create from nothing. Power is the willingness to transform what already exists. Time moves by replacing itself. Moments live by ending the ones before them. Nothing endures unchanged, and nothing changes without loss. Just like how we lost Ymir's body. But from loss emerges form. And from form emerges meaning. From meaning emerges memory. And the world did not begin with perfection, manifestation, or something like that, but it began with decision. A decision that existence must not remain unformed. A decision that chaos must not remain whole. A decision that decided that something must end so that something greater may endure, like a greater sacrifice for more great. Yeah. And so the earth beneath every step carries an ancient truth, which is you walk upon transformation. You breathe within consequence. And you live inside a structure born from surrender. And the sky above is not just merely empty, it is containment. The wind is not just merely motion, it is remembrance. And so, the world is not just simply present, but rather it is the echo of an ending that became a beginning. And in every mountain that does not move, in every ocean that never rests, in every horizon that cannot be reached, the same silent truth that endures, which is, existence is not just merely created, but rather it is reshaped, transformed, and made. If you listen closely beneath the noise of living, beneath the rhythm of passing time, beneath the illusion of permanence, you may still hear it. Well, or that. Because it's not a voice, not a sound, but rather a memory carried by all things that exists. A memory that whispers something that we hold on to this day. Because to become something must be given, like an eye for an eye, Odin. To endure something must change. To endure something must change. And to live, something must end. And from that ending, the world continues to rise based off that ancient truth. And it's also crazy how Norse mythology stands off of Ymir's corpse, and it all just is dependent on Ymir, because tell me how his corpse was used as the foundation of the Norse mythology. And it's like, what? And also, the elements and the ancient truth of it all was to something to begin. It must have something to seize. And I know we're replaying back on what we said in an earlier video, but it's really just about how the truth that we hold on sometimes is not just really that simple. It all starts just from transformation, through through enduring, through like so many things. Ymir teaches us something, and yet it's just known as merely character from Norse mythology, even though it's not. But if you guys enjoy this legend, go ahead and check out my page for more, and comment down in the comments down below which legend you want next. And until the next tale, stay curious.